Hello and thank you for having me on. My name is Alex and I go by Up the Cherries on TikTok. You might have seen me waffling about Bournemouth or something to do with that. And it's an absolute pleasure to be here talking about the massive game this weekend, Bournemouth versus Tottenham, which I'm not too confident for, if I'm being honest. Right, so my thoughts going into the game this weekend. Obviously, Tottenham, I think under Thomas Frank, they've set up absolutely amazingly. You beat Man City, which you do each season anyway, and then you battered Burnley, 3-0 I think it was. But I think the way that Thomas Frank, I think he's a great manager. I think the way he's got Tottenham set up is just brilliant. We haven't beaten Thomas Frank, or just Brentford in general, but a Thomas Frank team since 2019, 2020, it's been 9 games and we've beaten Brentford with him in charge. So we haven't got the best of luck beating a Thomas Frank team. It's going to be a hard game. I think all Bournemouth fans know that. I don't think there's any Bournemouth fans out there that are going to this game thinking, yeah, we're going to win this game easily. It's going to be a hard game. Thomas Frank's a great manager. It's not an easy place to go and play, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I mean, we won there 2 seasons ago, 3-2, but I can't see that happening again. So I'd take a point, honestly, I'd take a point. Obviously, first game of the season, we lost 4-2 to the champions, but they were just unreal. And we brought it back to 2-2. I thought we played pretty good. Semenyo was crazy, but then we conceded 2 last 10-minute goals, which was awful. And then last week, obviously, we beat Wolves 1-0 at home. They had a red card, and I think we definitely could have scored a few more, but we got all 3 points, which is the most important thing. But it's going to be a hard game, of course it is. In terms of my predicted lineup, obviously, Petrovic in goal, we haven't really got many other options. In defence, I've gone Truffert left back. He's been amazing this season. Right back, Adam Smith, Mr. Reliable, ex-Tottenham player as well. 2 centre-backs, Marcos Senesi and Bafodé Diakite, who's actually had a pretty good start at Bournemouth. In midfield, I would say Ryan Christie, but he wasn't as good as he normally is. Obviously, he's come back from an injury when he played against Brentford. He's not played for quite some time, so I'm not going to throw him straight into Premier League games straight away. So I'm going to keep the same midfield that we have for the past 2 weeks. Alex Scott, Tyler Adams and Marcus Tavernier. On the wings, obviously, Antoine Semenyo. Up front, Evan Nilsson. And I think on the other side, it's going to be David Brooks, who's actually had a pretty good start to the season. That's what I think we probably will play. But in terms of who I want to play, I would probably want Justin Kluivert to start, to be honest. He has just come back from an injury and he started against Brentford on Tuesday, so I just don't know if he's going to get thrown straight up into the lineup, but I would like him to start personally. Also, I wouldn't mind seeing our brand new signing Amin Adli play. He looked very, very good off the bench against Wolves. Against Brentford, he was okay, but he didn't do as much as he did against Wolves when he came off the bench for the 10 minutes he played. But a very exciting player who I definitely think has a lot of potential, and I wouldn't mind seeing him start, but I think Brooks has just had such a good start to the season that I don't know if he can be dropped. But yeah, I think there's 2 players that I wouldn't mind seeing start would be Kluivert and Adley. In terms of the Tottenham player that I'm most scared to play against, it's got to be Kudus. He was great at West Ham. He's had a great start to life here at Tottenham. And I think he's just such a good player. Genuinely, he's that player that can just change a game like that. He's got that X factor. His footwork is genuinely ascending. Every time he gets on the ball, I'm going to be terrified because he's an absolute baller. I think it's just an amazing signing for Tottenham. Or even Richarlison, if I'm being honest. He's had a great start. He scored a brilliant goal against Burnley and he's looked very, very good under Thomas Frank, which is quite surprising. But it's got to be Kudus. I think he's an unbelievable player and I'm very, very scared to play against him. In terms of score prediction, I like to be optimistic. I hate coming online saying that Bournemouth are going to lose again because I feel like then if we lose, it's my fault. So I'm going to say 2-2. I would take a draw. In terms of goal scorers, I think Evan Nilsson is going to get his first goal of the season. I think he's a great player. And probably Antoine Semenyo because he's had a great start this season. So got to be Semenyo. And for Tottenham, I think Mickey van der Ven is going to score because we're awful from corners. As our team, we haven't got a big team, we have a relatively small team, so I'm a bit scared because Romero and Van der Ven are 2 massive guys, so I'm going to be a bit scared of when we get a corner, but I'm going to Mickey van der Ven and probably Richarlison if I'm being honest. But yeah, a nice 2-2 game, I'll take a point. There's been a lot of noise over the Bournemouth transfer window. Obviously, we have lost a lot of key players. Zabani going, Howson going, Kirkes going, Kepa going, and we sold a lot of squad players as well, like Philip Billing going. I think we have replaced those key players well, bringing Adrian Truffert, Bafodé Diakite, Petrovic is a great goalkeeper, Ben Dokes come in, a great player for the future, and Amin Adli looks to be brilliant as well. So I think it's been a pretty good window. I think we've replaced the key players that we've lost quite well, and we haven't even spent all the cash that we've earned from them either. On paper, it doesn't look too good for us, but I think the players we have brought in have a great replacement. I think Truffert is going to be an unbelievable player for us this season. And people will say we might struggle this season because we have lost these key players, but I think we've shown in the past we can replace these key players that we've lost. For example, we sold Solanke to Tottenham, we got Evan Nilsson, who I think is a great replacement. I don't think it's as doom and gloom as some people are making it out to be, but if I had to rate out of 10, I think, yes, we lost a lot of key players, but I thought we've replaced them really, really well. So I'm going to give us, if we sign nobody else, a solid, probably a 7.5, I reckon. Only because I think the players that we've brought in have been excellent replacements, so... But before the window closes, it's coming up very, very quickly. But I think we need one more centre-back. Obviously, we lost Howson and Zabani, and we've only replaced one of them, bringing in Bafodé Diakite. I think one more centre-back is definitely needed, and I think a lot of Bournemouth fans are crying out for that last centre-back. I don't know who it's going to be, but I think one more centre-back, 100%. I could see us maybe getting a right-back if Araujo's going on loan, which is a rumour. Yeah, possibly a young right-back who could learn from Adam Smith, and maybe a striker to be a backup for Evan Nilsson, because Unai, I think, is still injured. So I think probably a centre-back, maybe a right-back, maybe a backup striker, and potentially a midfielder, but I don't think that's a need. A centre-back definitely is. In terms of the overall season, I think we're going to have a pretty good season. Probably not as good as last year, not getting top 10, but I think some people are saying relegation. I don't think so. There are a lot of teams that are worse than us, for example, Leeds, Burnley, Sunderland, Wolves, probably West Ham right now, so I don't think we'll be anywhere near the bottom, but I think probably coming like 11th or 12th will be a pretty successful season, especially after having those key players that have left us. Obviously, last season we got close to European football, but I don't think that's on the cards this season. I'm going to try and be a bit realistic here. I think for me this season is probably just letting the new players settle in and just getting a nice like high mid-table finish, like probably like 10th or 11th. I don't think there's too much pressure to replicate last season because that was just an amazing season for us. I think next season, yes, we could push on for that higher place, but I think just this season, that's probably the goal. Hopefully a nice FA Cup run because we're out of the Carabao Cup already after that abysmal performance against Brentford. Where do I think Bournemouth will come this season? I'm going to say 10th. 10th or 11th. Just below last year's 9th place finish, but I think 10th or 11th is a pretty respectable finish for us this season, I reckon. Thank you very much for having me on. It was a pleasure. I'm hoping for a nice game of football. Obviously, I'm hoping for a Bournemouth win, but who knows? And may the best team win. Up the Cherries.